And here we go, everybody. Welcome, Cardinal TV. Pete Stark bringing it to you here tonight. Hope you're watching Time Warner Cable, channel 96.96, or you may be watching on the YouTube channel as well, Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio, on YouTube. And also you can check us out during the game, streaming live now, ESPNCleveland.com. Bringing it to you, Mentor versus the visiting Brush Arcs, who come in with a 1-3 record. Mentor Cardinals undefeated at 4-0 on the season. This is game number 5 of the year and the third home game in a row for the Mentor Cardinals here after starting out the first 2 weeks of the season on the road. First week of the season, victory on the road against Boardman Spartans, winning 48-14. That exciting matchup versus St. Ignatius and the Wildcats on September the 6th. It was a Saturday night, Byers Field in Parma. Exciting victory for the Cards, who ended up winning that one, a tally of 37-33, before coming back home versus the Euclid Panthers, beating the Euclid 49-0. And then last week against the Twinsburg Tigers, a big victory, putting up 48 points versus no points for the Tigers in the first half of play alone, wrapping up with the final score of 54-7. The Cardinals with the big victory, looking to keep the home cooking and home crowd happy here with another home victory. That game versus Euclid Panthers also marked Coach Trivasano's 150th victory of his long-tenured career at his alma mater. Got victory number 151 last week versus the Tigers of Twinsburg, looking for 152 this evening. Cardinals have scored 37 points or more in all 4 of their games so far this year, so another year, another high-scoring squad for the Cardinals. This is homecoming weekend here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium at Mentor High School, so we just got done before the game seeing the awarding of the Queen and King. Congratulations to Caitlin Dubinsky for being awarded the Queen, and then the King ended up getting selected, Russell Catania as well, so congratulations to those two on being selected as the King and the Queen. Couple stats from last week's game. Big victory again over Twinsburg Tigers. Cardinals pretty decisive. 22 first downs versus Twinsburg only mustering 15. Cards had 387 yards of total offense last week. And the Cards on the kickoff, getting the ball closer to the 37-yard line. Again, the quarterback of the Mentor Cardinals this year, the senior Jake Floria. First year as a starting quarterback on the varsity. Played on the JV last year, mixing it in as quarterback and also wide receiver after transferring over from Lake Catholic High School after his sophomore year. Mentor glad to have him here as he's having a big start to the season as we see the powder in the air, even coming in the press box. Student section starting that trend this year where a la LeBron James opening up their arms and throwing the powder in the air to salute the team as they start. And here we go, 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. Going to hand the ball off to Jason Blizzard, getting some yards up to about the 45-yard line before going out of bounds. Dangerous Cardinals offense. Again, a lot of weapons for Jake Floria. You got senior Eddie Doherty's having a fantastic season here to begin the year. Also number 2 we just seen on that play, Jason Blizzard. Number 4, Malik Porter, another weapon. Number 44, Alex Matthews, too. And looks like Eddie Doherty on that catch. Moving the chains. 1st and 10. Let's do it again for the Cards. Starting out this first drive on offense. Getting the chains moving with the first down. Onto the Brush Arc side of the field as well. Jake Flory in that spread offense. No huddle. Going to give the ball to Alex Matthews, pounding the ball ahead, refusing to go down, getting some positive yards, getting close to the 45, now to the 41-yard line, I should say, on the Arc side of the field. The junior running back for the Cardinals, Alex Matthews. Alex Matthews had 2 touchdown scores, 2 rushing touchdowns last week against Twinsburg for the Cardinals. And Matthews being taken down after maybe getting a yard. Number 44, Alex Matthews on the carry. He's going to bring up a 3rd down and 4 for the Cardinals here with 10:45 remaining in the first quarter of play. No score yet in the game. Mentor Cardinals at home versus the visiting Brush Arcs. Again, it's a matchup of an undefeated Mentor Cardinal squad here versus the 1-3 Brush Arcs. Jake Floria taking the snap, looking downfield, got a receiver, looking for Jason Blizzard in the middle of the field. Some people calling for the flag. No penalty on the field at that point. The Cardinals look like they're going to be lining up to go for it on 4th down, 4th and 4. Last week for the Cardinals, they went for it 3 times on 4th down and hit it 2 out of the 3 times. So they've been fairly successful on 4th down conversions already in early going. Jake Floria looking downfield, going deep for Eddie Doherty. Got his receiver, catching the ball just before going out of bounds at the 10-yard line, and the official is signaling a catch for Eddie Doherty, number 40. What a catch. Taking a risk there by Jake Floria, looking downfield on 4th and 4. Not settling just to get the first down, but looking to get a big play as he did, connecting with his favorite target, Eddie Doherty. Last week, Jake Floria, 11 of 17 for 158 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground as well. It's going to be 1st down in the red zone for the Cardinals here, getting set up for the play. The Brush Arcs coming in from Lyndhurst, Ohio. Division II school, made the playoffs last year after 2 7-win seasons. Number 44, Alex Matthews, fighting, plowing ahead, getting close to the goal line. 10 minutes to go in the first quarter of play. Strong run by Alex Matthews. Going to spot the ball at about the 2-yard line. Spread offense. Jake Floria looking at 2 receivers on the right side, 2 on the left. Flanked in the back by Alex Matthews. Going to give it to the big running back again, who goes into the end zone for a touchdown score. Getting in the mix for 6. That's Alex Matthews, number 44, 9:40 remaining in the first quarter play. Cardinals going up on the first drive, the first possession of the game. Pushing it into the end zone, 6-0. Tyler Thompson, the senior kicker, coming on to get the capper. Cardinals up 6-0. And the extra point is up and good. Pushing the score ahead to 7 for the Mentor Cardinals at home here against the visiting Brush Arcs. Again, the brown and gold out of Lyndhurst, Ohio. The Brush Arcs, coached by Josh Wells in his 3rd season, had a couple successful first go at it with the Brush Arcs. 2012, his first year coaching the team, ended up with a 7-3 record. Last year in 2013, ended up with 7 wins as well, taking his team to the Division I playoffs, or Division II playoffs. Brush is 1-2 all time in playoff appearances, including last year's appearance in the Division II regionals. The Arcs' only other playoff appearance was in 2005 when Brush advanced to the Division I regional semis and lost to St. Ed's at Cleveland Brown Stadium. .940 remaining in the first quarter play. 7 points already on the board in their first possession for the Cardinals.
Back deep for Brush, we have number 3, Jordan Overton.
Again, Coach Trevisano, 151 wins now in his long tenured career, only with 55 losses. That's a winning percentage of 73. And Brush getting the ball, running it back to 15, to 20, breaking free a little bit here, close to the 25-yard line on their own side of the field before being taken down. That was number 3, Jordan Overton for the Brush Arcs. Going to give D'Angelo Levert, 27, a junior linebacker for the Cards, credit with the tackle on that kickoff return. Again, Jake Floria starting off the game pretty well here, having a great start to the season, too. For the second time in 4 starts last week, Floria throwing for 3 touchdowns in the game. In Week 1 over Boardman Spartans, Floria connected on 3 scores. He matched that again last week with touchdown passes of 14 yards, 17 yards, and finally 26 yards.
Quarterbacking is number 3, Jordan Overton.
Jordan Overton, the quarterback for the Brush Sharks, handed the ball off. Going to number 2, Carl Wheeler Jr., the senior running back for the Brush Sharks. A couple yards going straight ahead.
On the stop, number 15, Brendan Parker.
Going to give Brendan Parker credit on that tackle for the Cardinals, the senior cornerback. Actually, they're going to say that the Brush Sharks lost the yard on that carry. It's going to bring up a second down and long situation, 2nd and 11 for Brush. Oh, and bobbled the ball. Quarterback being hounded by the Cardinals defense. Pretty elusive to break free from what he did.
Number 3, quarterback
Jordan Overton with a bit of a slip up on the handoff from the center there. Nearly fumbled the ball. Good job of securing it and getting out of the way of the Cardinals for a minute before being taken down. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 15 for the Brush Sharks as we approach 8.5 minutes remaining in the first quarter play. The Mentor Cardinals up 7-0 over the visiting Brush Sharks. Again, the Cardinals with a very strong start to the beginning of the season, rated number 1 in the News Herald top of the crop standings. Cleveland.com finds the Mentor Cardinals, their undefeated 4-0 record, is the 3rd-rated team in the area. Brush looking downfield, looking for a receiver. He has his receiver well short of the first down yardage that they needed. Lucky to get it up to the line of scrimmage, but flags are down on the field. That was Amir Jackson on the reception for the Brush Sharks. See what the officials call for the penalty. It's going to be a legal procedure on the Brush Sharks. It's going to be declined by the Cardinals wisely, and it's going to force the Brush Sharks to punt the ball on 4th down and 12, giving it back to the Mentor Cardinals. Eddie Doherty lining up, getting ready for the punt return at his own 47-yard line. Ooh, got a piece of that ball. And it goes skipping out of bounds at about the 37-yard line on the Brush Arc side of the field. Great field position for the Cardinals, already up by a score of 7-0 over Brush. 7:54 remaining in the first quarter play. Again, going over some of the polls and where the Cardinals are currently being rated. The Ohio Associated Press poll finds the Mentor Cardinals rated number 2, right behind the Cincinnati Moeller team that they faced in the state championship game last year. And also taking a peek at the computer points, the OSHA Harbin point standings were released this week, and the Cardinals currently rank in the top 8 among the Division I, Region 1 teams at number 7. 5 of the 6 teams in the NOC Valley are in the top 16, so we all know that the Cards playing a pretty strong conference here. Trying to thread the needle, Jake Floria, but amidst some traffic on the defensive side, but flags flying on the field. On that 1st and 10 pass intention by Jake Floria, the quarterback for the Mentor Cardinals. Waiting to see what they call. Again, this homecoming weekend here at Mentor High, Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. Another great crowd on hand. Seasonal temperatures here as well. Very nice weather for this game tonight. As the official calling a penalty against the Brush Sharks. Going to be a pass interference call, so it's going to move the ball a little bit closer there to the Brush Cardinals end zone. It's going to keep it at a 1st and 10 situation for the Cards. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty, so Cards are having all the luck turning in their favor here. Big penalty going against Brush in the early going. Jake Floria, 3 receivers spread to the right, 1 to the left. Looking to pass the ball. He's got his man in the center of the field. Jason Blizzard getting out to about the 9-yard line. Getting in the red zone for the Cards. Finding a lane, moving the chains. First down for the Cardinals with 7:30 remaining in the first quarter. Looking to put some more points on the board. This time Jake Floria flanked to his left by Alex Matthews, number 44. Jason Blizzard to his right. Going to give the ball to Blizzard. Blizzard storming into the end zone, and he's getting in there, putting the score on the board. Time to score. How about 6 more? The Cards going up 13-0 over to Brush Arcs. 7:16 remaining in the first quarter of play. Second time this game they try that play with Blizzard, and this time he finds Pay Dirt running to his left and finding the pylon at the left corner of the end zone for the touchdown. Jason Blizzard coming off that game last week where he caught a touchdown through the air versus Twinsburg and the Tigers last week. Tyler Thompson putting it up. Flag on the field as they go for the extra point attempt, which would have been good, but we'll see what the officials call. And it's going to be another penalty called against the Brush Arcs. So we're going to try this again, just a little bit closer this time. 13 points for the home team, the Mentor Cardinals. Nothing on the scoreboard at this point for the visiting Brush Arcs. Tyler Thompson, the senior kicker, getting set, putting it up, and he gets that extra point capper. Going to raise that score to 14-0. An early going here in the first quarter of play, 7:16 remaining. The Cardinals up by a 2-touchdown score over Brush. Cardinals over the years fortunate enough to have some stellar performers on their varsity squad, sending quite a bit of players to the college ranks. Last season finds over double digits with the players that are now playing in college football. Next year, we've already got a couple verbal commitments from the class of 2015. Nico Lautinen, the defensive standout for the Cardinals, is verbally committed to Bowling Green State University. And Eddie Doherty is committed to, out of the MAC, Eastern Michigan University. So we wish both of those seniors luck next year as they go on to the college ranks. Ball hawking, the defense of the Cardinals coming up strong this season. Despite not getting a pick against Twinsburg last week, the Cardinals have still managed to get at least one interception in a game in 16 of the last 19 games. That string goes all the way back to the 2013 season. Short kick. Brush Arcs going to get some decent field position here, being taken down at about the 37-yard line on their own side of the field by a host of Cardinal defenders. It was Amir Jackson on the Brush side with the return. Mark Walton getting credit on that tackle for the Cardinals on the special teams, and also 21, Joe Lampert, in the mix on that tackle. 7:10 remaining in the first quarter play. The Cardinals up early. 14 for the home team. Nothing at this point for the visiting Brush Arcs. Brush getting set. And they're going to hand the ball off, and there's a fumble covered by the quarterback, Jordan Overton, falling on the ball. Luckily for the Brush Arcs, preventing a turnover on that fumble as that ball came squirting out and nearly recovered by Mentor. It's going to bring up a long yardage situation again for Brush. Second down and 15 from their own 33-yard line. 6:45 and counting remaining in the first quarter of play. Again, this is the third home game in a row for the Mentor Cardinals. Next week, they're going to be at home one more time before going on the road. Next week on Thursday night, the Thursday night special is going to be against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders as we have another penalty on the Arcs. It's going to back them up even further. It's going to be inside their 30-yard line to about the 28 for an even farther second down conversion situation. Going to be a second down and 20, we'll call it. Again, the Cards next week going to be at home against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders, another team that's not having the greatest start to the season coming into tonight's play where they're at home against Stoneman Road Falls with a 1-3 record. Is Jordan Overton's going to keep it on the quarterback keeper, getting close to the 40-yard line, but still well short of the first down. Still going to be a third down and long situation for Brush. But after the Cardinals, going back to the schedule, after they get done playing Shaker Heights next week at home, not that they're going to overlook Shaker Heights by any means, but after that is where they get into the meat in the thick of the schedule. They're going to start playing Brunswick, who going into play this week versus Normandy has a 3-1 record on the season. Then the two teams that currently also have an undefeated record, the Solon Comets and the Hudson Explorers. There's Brush trying to get it through the air to convert on that third down, but it's going to be incomplete. It's going to bring out their special teams unit. 4th down and 10. They're going to be kicking it back over to the Cardinals. Eddie Doherty again getting set to return the punt, lining up at the Cardinals' 30-yard line. Solon Comets again in the Northeast Ohio Conference Valley, along with Menor, one of 3 undefeated teams, along with Hudson. But Solon at home tonight against Valley Forge. Hudson on the road versus Cuyahoga Falls. In the final home game of the regular season, as Menor almost gets another piece of that kick. And they're going to let the ball bounce, and it's taking a Brush Arcs roll to about the 23, 24-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. 5:20 and counting remaining in the first quarter of play. The Cardinals with the 14-0 advantage over the visiting Arcs. But the final home game of the regular season for the Cardinals going to be on Halloween night, October the 31st, versus the Strongsville Mustangs, who are on the road this week versus Parma. But Strongsville, another team with a great start to the season with a 3-1 record. Solon Comets beating Strongsville last week, with a score of 19-7 at Strongsville. But still, it's going to be a tough end to the regular season for the Cardinals. A lot of tough competition for them as Jake Flory handing the ball off. Alex Matthews getting some breathing room, plowing ahead, finding the lane, moving the chains. 4:42 remaining in the first quarter. Plowing through that Brush Arcs defense, breaking tackles and moving straight ahead. Floria, 2 receivers on the right, 3 on his left. From the Cardinals' 34-yard line, Floria looking downfield. And he's going to keep it on his own to the 40. Trying to find some running room, getting pulled down at about the 43-yard line. Jake Flory with a nice positive yardage gain on that run. Cardinals, 226 yards on the ground last week versus the Twinsburg Tigers. Jake Flory, 5 rushing attempts last week for 62 yards, a long of 24. It's going to be a 2nd down and short yardage situation for the Cards. 2 receivers on the right, 2 on his left. Alex Matthews in motion, looking downfield for Jason Blizzard, but he's going to overthrow him. So the ball drops at about the 20-yard line, looking deep downfield on that 2nd down and short situation. Again, Jake Flory on these short yardage situations, not afraid to look downfield and look for the big play as he did on that first drive of the game, finding Eddie Doherty. Last week, 54-7 over the Twinsburg Tigers. Jake Flory involved with 4 of the touchdowns last week, 1 rushing himself and 3 through the air. Right up the gut of the defense, Alex Matthews finding a lane, moving the chains, looking to score. How about 6 more? Running it straight up the gut on the Brush Arcs defense for the touchdown, moving the score ahead to 20-0 over the Brush Arcs. What a burst shown by the junior running back for the Cards, coming off of a game last week where he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Alex Matthews coming back strong again this week with a burst up the middle on a touchdown run. Tyler Thompson coming out again for the extra point conversion. The kick is up, and that one's good. So again here with 3:36 remaining in the first quarter of play, the Cardinals with a big 21-point advantage over Brush. Last week we found 5 different Cardinals involved with touchdowns. Eddie Doherty scoring 2 touchdowns last week, 1 on the ground, 1 in the air. Alex Matthews, as I just mentioned, 2 on the ground last week. Jason Blizzard catching a touchdown pass. Floria rushing for 1 his own, the quarterback on the keeper, and 3 through the air. And then Isaiah Gulick rushing for a touchdown as well.
Also, don't forget that Spirit Wear is on sale by the Red Line Club, also under the homestand.
Individual leaders for the Cardinals on the season on offense. Their rushing leader, as we just saw him on that sprint to the end zone on that long, long run. Alex Matthews coming into this game leading the Cardinals in the rushing category. 40 attempts coming into this game for 322 yards, averaging 8 yards a rush. 7 rushing touchdowns on the season with a long of 55 coming into this week. Eddie Doherty right behind Alex Matthews. 22 rushing attempts for 194 yards, averaging 8.5 yards a rush. Tyler Thompson getting set to kick the ball off once again to the Brush Arcs. And it's going to skip right inside the end zone and just creeps on into the end zone for a touchback. Lucky fall there for the Brush Arcs, so that could have got ugly if it would have stuck where it looked like it was going to stick for the Cardinals on the kickoff. Leading receivers for the Cardinals on the season, Eddie Doherty. Eddie Doherty, number 40, with 22 receptions, 297 yards coming into this game. 4 touchdowns through the air, a long of 64 and averaging 13.5 yards a reception. Jason Blizzard next after Eddie Doherty with 14 receptions coming into this game for 264 yards, 4 touchdowns through the air, and a long of 65. The big play man through the air averaging 18.9 yards a reception. So Brush Arcs getting set up on his first down and 10, down by 21 points at Mentor JTO Stadium. It's going to be the quarterback keeper, Jordan Overton, not finding much positive yards on that. Lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Number 51, Billy Hudson. Also assisting Billy. Number 45.
Hard to imagine, but with all the points the Cardinals are putting up through 4 games, and this being their 5th game of the season, no field goals so far this year. Senior kicker Tyler Thompson's 22 of 24 with extra point attempts and 0 for 1 with his field goal attempt. It's going to be a 2nd down and 10 situation for the Brush Arcs. 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter play. Receiver in motion, and he gave it to him. Number 6, that's Scott Austin. And the Cardinals are saying they got the ball on the fumble by number 6, Scott Austin, coughing it up to the Cardinals defense. Another game, another turnover recovered by the Cardinals. Had quite a knack for doing that already here in the early going. 2:50 remaining in the first quarter play. The Cards already up with a 3-touchdown score lead at 21-0 over the visiting Brush Arcs, and looking once again close to the red zone. Fantastic field position. Jake Floria marching on out to the field. 3 receivers to his right. 1 receiver to his left, flanked to the right by big number 44, Alex Matthews. Looking to the top of the field, that's Malik Porter, number 4, on the reception, getting close to the 10-yard line. Malik Porter, also one of the leading receivers for this Cardinal squad, coming into this game with 12 receptions on the season for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, a long of 36 and averaging 15.9 yards of reception. Floria again looking for Malik, who's looking for the end zone and finding it for the score. The Cardinals again finding pay dirt with 2:23 remaining in the first quarter of play. 28 points on the board. Nothing on the board already at this point for the Brush Arcs. The Cards out to the big advantage in the first quarter of play. It's been the trend since they've been home here. Jumping out to the big lead. Tyler Thompson again coming out. 22 of 24 on the extra point attempts on the season. Looking to add on to this Cardinals lead. And it's up and it's good. 28-0 now is the advantage for the Mentor Cardinals. A 4-touchdown lead over the visiting Arcs out of Brush. Cardinals really peaking at the right point of the season here. Building a lot of momentum ever since they had that tough battle versus the St. Ignatius Wildcats in week number 2 of the season, only beating St. Ignatius by a 4-point score, 37-33 in a neutral field in Parma versus the Wildcats of Ignatius on Byers Field. But since then, coming home versus the Euclid Panthers, beating Euclid 49-0, pitching a shutout last week against Twinsburg Tigers, beating them 54-7, and already out to a Pretty strong start here. 28 points in the first quarter of play, 2:23 remaining. Cards starting out hot. And again, just like we've seen in the past few weeks, some big turnovers. Really costly for the opposition because the Cardinals don't take long to score and don't take long to pounce and put the game out of reach, as it appears that they're doing early in the going tonight. Obviously, going over some of the passing statistics on the season for the Cardinals. Jake Floria, the starter for the Cardinals, but because of the big advantages, as Brush takes the ball on a kickoff out to about the 35-yard line on their own side of the field. But because of these big leads, the Cards have been able to manage early into going in these games. Jake Floria has passed the baton in the second half the past few weeks to Manning Trubisky and Tadas Tatarunas last week, getting some needed reps in there at the quarterback position. Again, this year there's a mercy rule, and the Cardinals have instituted that mercy rule on 3 of their opponents so far out of their first 4 games and look to be well on their way to doing that again tonight. And another fumble by the Brush Sharks, and it looks like it's going to be going the way of the Cardinals again, and it is at about the 33-yard line this time. Big Trevor Morrison getting credit for the fumble recovery this time for the Cardinals. So that's back-to-back possessions for the Brush Sharks and back-to-back fumbles being recovered by the home team, the Mentor Cardinals. Cardinals already up by a 4-touchdown advantage, 28-0, 2:13 remaining still in the first quarter of play. Cards again going to get fantastic field position on the Brush side of the field. 1st and 10 for the Cardinals. A lot of dangerous weapons out there for senior quarterback Jake Floria. 2 receivers on the right side, 2 on the left. Alex Matthews going in motion, going downfield, and it's going to be an incomplete pass intended for Eddie Doherty, number 40, right around the 20-yard line. It would have been a first down, but couldn't connect on that pass.
2nd down and 10 from the 32.
Big spread here in the early going already, 28 points on the board for the Cards. Jake Floria having difficulty with that high snap, being taken down at about the 40-yard line, losing yards on that 2nd down play for the Cardinals. Going to give credit to Ryan Murphy for the Brush Sharks, the junior defensive end, 6'3", 195 for Josh Wells' squad out of Lyndhurst, Ohio. It's going to be a 3rd down and long situation for the Cards. We'll call it 3rd and 16. Cards can make that up pretty quick with their high-octane offense. Jake Floria looking down. Got his man in the middle. Eddie Doherty, 30. Oh, what a move he put on that defender. Shifty move. Going straight ahead to the 20-yard line. Breaking ankles. Taking names and moving chains. Getting the 1st down. 1st and 10, we're going to do it again. 1:18 remaining in the first quarter of play. What a move by Eddie Doherty on that reception in the middle of the field. Leaving that Brush Sharks defender in his tracks before plowing straight ahead to get the 1st down in the red zone for the Cardinals here, or close to it. 20-yard line, we'll call it 1st and 10. Jake Floria getting set, and he's going to keep it himself. Nearly went down, but scrambling ahead to 15 to the 10. Making something out of nothing, the senior quarterback. Showing his rushing skills, showing his tackle-breaking skills, but there was a flag on the field, so we'll see what that's all about. Ryan Murphy on the tackle for the Brush Sharks. The junior defensive end again getting in on the mix. Going to be an official timeout as they get situated to resolve what the penalty flag is. 54 seconds remaining in the first quarter of play. Mentor Cardinals, 28 points already. 0 points on the board for the Brush Sharks. Going to be a holding penalty on the Cardinals. Going to push them back a little bit further. Wait to see where they spot the ball. Right now it's being placed at about the 23-yard line on the Brush Sharks side of the field. Now Tiandre Reynolds, number 14 for the Brush Sharks, going to the sideline with the assist of the training staff. Hopefully that youngster's all right. Jake Flory getting a play call from the sideline. Cardinals going into this game outscoring their opposition 188 points to 55 being scored against them. So quite a differential as Jake Flory looking downfield. Looking in the center of the field again, Eddie Doherty, number 40, getting close to the 10 again, doing the dance. Eddie, do that dance, coming in the 10-yard line at about the 9-yard line. Moving that ball ahead. And the Brush Sharks having a difficult time getting number 40 down on that reception in the middle of the field again. Jake Flory finding his favorite target through the air, Eddie Doherty, giving him room to get that yards after catch. Inside 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Play going to hand off the ball this time to Alex Matthews. Getting close to the end zone, trying to get a second score on the night, but he's coming up just shy of the goal line. Alex Matthews coming off the game last week where he had 2 rushing touchdowns, nearly had his second one in the first quarter of play. End of the first quarter, the score on the board showing 28 points for your home team, Mentor Cardinals. 0 points on the board for the visiting Brush Sharks. Hope you're joining us here tonight. Pete Stark, Cardinal TV. Either watching us on Time Warner Cable, channel 96.96, or maybe checking us out on our YouTube channel as well. Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio. Or also now, too, live during the game, checking us out, streaming live on ESPNCleveland.com. Beautiful night here in Mentor, Ohio. Picturesque temperatures all day long in the 70s. Good crowd on hand, a lot of them still in their short sleeves. 28 points put up in that first quarter of play. Positioning themselves again to possibly institute that mercy rule against the opposition tonight. I know Coach Trevisano not a big fan of that. Kind of shorting them as the play clock continues to run in the second half when the opposition is down by over 30 points. The only thing that'll end up stopping the clock would be if there's a change of possession, if there's a timeout, if it's the end of the period, or if that other team would bridge the gap with the score. So the Cardinals again going to have the ball. Alex Matthews on that last play nearly broke free and broke into the end zone for his second score in the night, but came up just shy as the ball being spotted about a yard away from the end zone on the Brush side of the field. Senior quarterback Jake Flory, 2 running backs behind him, 1 receiver to the right, 2 to his left. Going to hand it off to Alex Matthews, who finds pay dirt this time. Straight ahead. Cards going up to 34 points on the night. Alex Matthews again, the junior running back. Time to score. How about 6 more as they put it on the board. Tyler Thompson ready to get the extra point attempt. Coach Trevisano on the field. Angry about something. No flag is on the field at this point, but he's giving an earful to the officials. First play of the second quarter. Looks like there's a personal foul. Going to go against the Mentor Cardinals.
On the last play, there's a personal foul called against the Cardinals.
Touchdown is still going to point. We're still going to be waiting on the extra point.
After the touchdown. Attempting the extra point, number 22.
Tyler Thompson, again, the senior kicker for the Cardinals, looking to get on the field and add another digit to the score. And he cleared it. Cleared the goalpost. Going to bring the score up to 35-0. Mentor Cardinals versus the visiting Brush Sharks.
The Fighting Cardinals 35, the Arcs of Brush nothing.
First quarter statistics, hot off the press by my man on the stats, Pat Lieber here. 11 first downs in that first quarter of play, amazingly enough for the Mentor Cardinals. 4 of those first downs being on the rushing side, 6 through the air. Rushing attempts in that first quarter, Cardinals on the ground 11 times for 114 yards. Passing yards 107 for for the Mentor Cardinals in that first quarter of play for 215 yards for the Cardinal offense. Quite a start to the beginning of the game here in their third consecutive home game, game number 5 of the season. The undefeated Mentor Cardinals looking to remain that way, and it's sure shaping up to take form in that direction tonight. 11:57 remaining in the first half. The Mentor Cardinals up by a score of 35-0 over the visiting Brush Arcs out of Lyndhurst, Ohio. Coached by Josh Wells, who's really had a stellar start to the beginning of his career as the head coach for Brush. 2 7-win seasons last season in 2013, leading his team to the playoffs as well. So pretty solid squad, you would have thought, going into the season. Having a rough go at it in the beginning of the year and just running into a Mentor Cardinals team that's been a rolling buzzsaw since coming at home. Cardinals going to be kicking off from their 25-yard line. 11:57 again remaining in the half. Time of possession in that first quarter of play lopsided in favor of the Cardinals. 7 minutes and 13 seconds for Mentor. Only 4:47 for the Brush Arcs as they prepare to kick. Coming up with a pooch kick that lands at about the 30-yard line, going out of bounds right around the 24-yard line on the Brush side of the field.
Kick is out of bounds.
Statistics again from the first quarter of play. Some teams may have these type of statistics after a full game, but not Mentor. Alex Matthews, 7 rushing attempts in that first quarter for 92 yards, nearly going over that century mark just in the first quarter of play. Averaging 13.1 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns on the ground. A long of 57 as he was shot like a cannon up the middle of the field. Jason Blizzard also 2 rushing attempts in that first quarter of play for 13 yards. The second one being the most important for the touchdown score of 9 yards. As there was a penalty on the Cardinals on that kickoff, going to push the spot of the ball back a little bit further for this kick. The official's about to put the ball down at the 20-yard line. So it's going to give the Arcs better field position, you would have to imagine, but the re-kick is about to commence. 11:57 remaining in the first half of play in the second quarter, 35-0. The Mentor Cardinals at home, enjoying the big advantage again this week. Senior kicker Tyler Thompson getting set. And they're going to try the onside kick, trying to recover the ball. And they're going to call the offense as being offsides. Coach Trevisano getting frustrated with these officials here. So we're seeing a lot of penalty flags here in the first half of play. Going back to some statistics, the first quarter, Eddie Doherty with 4 receptions for 74 yards, the long being of 30, averaging 18.5 yards a pass. A couple big receptions he had in the middle of the field. Also, Malik Porter with 2 big grabs for 21 yards, receiving in that first quarter, one being a touchdown reception, averaging 10.5 yards a catch. And Jason Blizzard, 1 catch in that first quarter for 12 yards. Not much going at all in that first quarter of play for the Brush Arcs, as their total yards ended up being 1 yard after it was netted out in that first quarter of play. So 215 yards for the Cardinals in quarter number 1 versus only 1 positive yard for the Brush Arcs. Cards getting set to kick for the 3rd time here, and this time Tyler Thompson gets it up in the air to the 40-yard line, received by the Brush Arcs. Nice tackle by the Cardinals as they force him to the ground at about the 47-yard line. DeAndre Reynolds on a kickoff return for the Arcs. Brady Crandall, one of the Cardinal defenders, getting credit for the tackle on that kickoff special teams play. 11:31 remaining in a half. The Cardinals up 35-0 over the visiting Arcs out of Brush High School. Going to be 1st and 10 for Brush, their quarterback this evening, number 3, Jordan Overton. Finding some very big difficulties here versus this underrated Cardinals defense. Everybody thinks about their offense and all the points they score, but the defense has really been coming on strong all season long. Quarterback keeper, he's going to get to the Cardinal side of the field, running straight ahead. As Jordan Overton, that's a junior for the Brush Arcs, listed at 5'11", 180. It's going to be at the 46-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field. Going to be a 2nd down and short. We'll call it 2nd and 4 situation for the Arcs of Brush.
2nd down and 3 on the 46 of the Cardinals.
As the Arcs break the huddle, going up to the line. Jordan Overton, one receiver on his right, one on his left. 2 running backs by him, and he's going to keep it again, trying to go straight ahead, but met by a contingent of Cardinal defenders on that 2nd down and short. That was Jordan Overton, again, the quarterback, trying to get some yards. D'Angelo Levert, one of the Cardinal defenders, getting in there on the tackle. Number 46, Brady Crandall. Once again, we hear his name, the senior linebacker, getting in on that tackle, comboing up with D'Angelo Levert. It's going to be a 3rd down and short situation for the Brush Arcs, who find themselves down in a 35-point hole with 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play on the road. Tough task here for Brush, facing an undefeated team, but an undefeated team that's been on quite a roll, plowing through their competition after that tight one in week number 2 versus St. Ignatius. Jordan Overton going straight ahead on the quarterback keeper, getting the 1st down, getting close to the 40-yard line. And that's Brush's first down of the night. And they're going to spot that ball on the 41-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field. So finally something going here for the Brush Arcs. There's a nice run straight up the center of the Cardinal defense. Jordan Overton for the Brush Arcs. Getting lined up in that shotgun for the Arcs. 9:47 to play in the first half. Receiver to his right, one to his left, and again he's going to try to keep it, but being met at the line of scrimmage by a brick wall. That's the Cardinals' defense. Jordan Overton stood up as he had nothing going there on that play. J.D. Matsko, one of the Cardinal defenders, getting in there. And also Pete Kunka getting in there too. The senior defensive end is Coach Josh Wells is going to call a timeout here to talk about it for a minute with his Arcs out of Brush. Again, going over some of the individual leaders on the season. Punt returns. Eddie Doherty coming into this game with 6 punt returns on the season for 126 yards. He does have 1 touchdown on a punt return. His long return of 50 yards. Cardinals going into this game 300-plus yards in total offense every game of the season so far, and very close to that mark just in the first quarter alone tonight. As the Cardinals, again, 215 yards just in that first quarter of play. As we approach 9:23 remaining in the game. Cardinal TV bringing it to you once again. 3rd home game in a row for the Mentor Cardinals. Big start to the beginning of the season, but we know we got some tough competition as the season winds down. And the Brush Arcs finding no room on that 2nd down play. That was a 2nd down and 9. Once again, lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Brandon Adams is the running back who was attempting on that rush for the Brush Arcs. I think that was D'Angelo Levert, number 27, a junior linebacker. Hearing his name called a lot here in the first half of play. Nice takedown and tackle for the Cardinals defense. It's going to bring up a big 3rd down and long for the Brush Arcs, 3rd and 9. 8:48 remaining in the first half. Overton looking downfield, being hounded by the Cardinals on defense, but showing some speed with the burst to the 45, but well short of that 1st down marker. Going to bring up a 4th down and long situation for the Arcs. I'm sure that's going to likely bring out the special teams for the Arcs, but Coach Josh Wells may be thinking otherwise. He may be thinking we're down by 35 points with 8:20 remaining in the first half of play, facing a mercy rule that's going to be rolling into play potentially in the second half here. They may be content to try to hit this 4th and 5 situation. We know the Cardinals like gambling and going for it on 4th down quite a bit. Brush Arc's going to talk about it a little bit here and make sure that's the call that Josh Wells wants to make at this juncture of the game with a 4th down and 5 situation. They are facing a 35-point deficit here with 7:53 remaining in the first half versus the Mentor Cardinals. Again, these Brush Arcs. Game number 5 on the season for them as well. Led off the season with a loss versus Padua, losing that game 21-14. Second week of the season, the Brush Arcs faced off on the road versus Ashtabula Lakeside, putting up some points and winning that game 43-13, 30-point win on the road. But then the last 2 weeks being shut out on the road versus Kenston 21-0 and losing at home to the Mayfield squad that tore into them a little bit with a 36-7 victory over Brush last week. Their crosstown rival out of Mayfield. 7:53 remaining, and they were going to kick the ball, but it's a fumble. Cardinals going to get that down. Nico Lawton getting in there, big number 54. The ball's going to be at about the 45-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. So the Cardinals offense looking to, again, take over with fantastic field position. Jake Flory is still in the game at quarterback, the senior for the Cardinals, having a stellar start to the season. First year as a starting quarterback for Mentor. The brown and gold out of Brush having a rough beginning to the game. Jake Flory rolling out to his right, looking downfield, got a receiver right by the first down marker. They're waiting for the call on that. And they're going to call that a fumble, and it's going to be a turnover recovered by the Brush Arcs. I see DeAndre Reynolds, number 14 there for the Arcs of Brush. So it's going to turn the ball over to Brush at about the 42-yard line on their own side of the field. Waiting for the official ruling by the officials, and there's the signal. They are going to be giving that ball over to Brush on a surprising play on first down for the Cardinals, turning it over to the visiting team. 7:39 remaining in the first half. The Cardinals still enjoying that big advantage as the game is stalled a little bit here with a number of penalties and a change of possession on a turnover by the Cardinals. Number 3, Jordan Overton at the helm for Brush. And that shotgun set, he's got one receiver to the right, 2 to the left, the one going in motion, and he's going to hand the ball off. That's number 2. That's some positive yards. Actually, number 6, Scott Austin, the junior running back for the Brush Sharks. It's going to bring up a second down and short for Brush with 7:23 remaining here. In the first half, they're going to spot that ball at about the 45-yard line. And it's going to be another first down for the Brush Sharks. First downs were hard to come by in that first quarter of play. But this is the second one that they've had here in the second quarter. Number 6 again in motion. Overton's going to keep that ball and just squeaked ahead for barely 2 yards. Going straight ahead on that quarterback keeper. Brendan Parker, number 15, the senior cornerback, getting in around the stop. And Pete Kunka in there as well on the defensive side on that tackle for the Cardinals. 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Mentor Cardinals up 35-0 over Brush. Second down and 8 for Brush. Quarterback by number 3, Jordan Overton. It's a threat to run the ball. 2 receivers on his right. Again, number 6 going in motion. That's Austin Scott. Fumble looked to be recovered by the Cardinal defense, and it is. The official signaling the ball going the Cardinals' way. 32, J.D. Matsko, the senior linebacker, recovering the ball. And quickly after the Brush Sharks wound up with the turnover, getting the offensive possession, they turn it right back over to Menor. A little bit of back and forth here in the second quarter of play. Cardinals up 35-0. 6:38 remaining in the first half. Jake Floria getting set on offense. 3 receivers to his right, 1 on his left, flanked 1 receiver or 1 running back to his right as well. Looking downfield, but he's going to give it to his running back, number 44, Alex Matthews. And Alex having a huge first half, really, in this game. But just coming up with short yardage on that first down play there. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 8 for the Menor Cardinals. Jake Floria waiting for the play call. Again, setting up with 3 receivers on the right. Malik Porter, the receiver to his left. The officials talking on the sideline to the Arcs coach, Josh Wells, and going to take an official timeout on the play here. But the Cardinals, again, setting up in the same formation at no huddle that they do so well. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Alex Matthews in the backfield just to Jake's right. As Matthews goes out, Jake Floria finding Matthews, running before he brought that ball in. And actually, that was number 14. That's Zach Sparacia, the senior receiver for the Cardinals, on the incompletion. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and long situation for the Cards inside 6 minutes to play in the first half. On homecoming weekend here at the Jerome T. Osborne Stadium in Menor, Ohio. Glad to have everybody here. Cardinal TV. Hopefully you're streaming us live. ESPNCleveland.com, or maybe checking us out on Time Warner Cable, or even on the YouTube channel. Glad to have you either way. Another penalty flag, and it looks like that's going to be a pass interference. We'll wait for the official word from the officials, but I'd have to imagine that's what it may end up being on that 3rd down and long pass attempt by the Menor Cardinals. 5:49 to go in the first half of play. Cards with the big lead, and it is going to be a pass interference call. It's going to move the ball straight ahead for the Cards. Next week, the game going to change it up a little bit. On October the 2nd, it's going to be on a Thursday night here again at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium versus the Shaker Heights Red Raiders. Shaker Heights also another team that's struggling in early going, coming into tonight's competition with a 1-3 record. Cardinals straight up the middle with a burst. Alex Matthews. Oh, that was Eddie Doherty that time, number 40. Really shooting through that line of scrimmage straight ahead on the rush. Going to be just shy of a first down. Going to be a 2nd down and short for the Cardinals on offense. Jake Floria faking a handoff, looking downfield. Got a receiver. It's going to be incomplete, though, at the 25-yard line. Looking for Malik Porter, number 4. Going to bring up a 3rd down and short situation. Again, the Cards have shown that they're not afraid on these short yardage downs to look downfield as well. So really keeping the defense on their toes and not knowing what to expect. A lot of teams would just try to pound it out for a couple yards to get the first, but the Cards are going to take whatever the defense gets them and maybe looking to open it up and looking to extend that lead. 35-point advantage to this point. Jake Floria giving it to Alex Matthews. He's got the first, breaking tackles to about the 28-yard line. He's having a big night once again on the ground. The big running back, the junior for the Cardinals. In that no huddle, the Cards getting set up again. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Alex Matthews again going to get the ball. Again, spinning out of that first tackle before being brought down, probably for a loss on that play. And the ball is going to come back to about the 31-yard line. Jake Floria looking to the sideline, and no huddle for the next play call. Getting set up once again with 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. From that familiar shotgun set, Jake Floria rolling out to his left, looking downfield, got his receiver, bobbling the ball before dropping that catch. That's number 40, Eddie Doherty. Not able to wrangle in that pass attempt, but we'll wait and see what the Cardinals offense is going to do here. 3rd down and 12 for the Cards. 4:35 remaining in the first half of play.
Ball is on the 30 with 4:35 to go.
Cards going to be going for it. Here's number 10, Jake Floria, the QB, signal caller for the Cardinals, getting set up on the offensive set. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right, 1 in motion. It's Eddie Doherty in motion. Floria looking downfield, looking deep. He's got Blizzard, and he's got him in the end zone. Looking to score. How about 6 more? So bold, so cold. That's Jason Blizzard with the reception in the end zone, pushing the score ahead to 41-0 over the visiting Brush Sharks with 4:28 remaining in the first half of play. Tyler Thompson again looking to come out to add 1 more point to the scoring column. Big score for the Cards, going forward on 4th and long. And again, not just settling to get that first down, but looking for pay dirt and cashing in once again. Cards with the big advantage.
And the kick is up.
The Arcs got some penetration on that kick attempt, but it's still up, and it's still good. 42 points in the first half of play for the Cardinals with 4:28 remaining here in the first half. Possibly looking to better their advantage from last week. The Cards went into halftime versus Twinsburg last Friday with a 48-point advantage versus 0 points for the visiting team, and Cards still with a lot of time left on that clock. Again, the Cards this week versus a struggling team with the Brush Sharks coming into the game with a 1-3 record. Going to be going against Shaker with a 1-3 record, but then they really get into the meat of their schedule. The last 4 games of the season is when they're really going to have a grind where they're going to be facing the 3-1 Brunswick Blue Devils on the road at Brunswick Automart Stadium. That's going to be on Friday, October the 10th. After that, coming back home to take on the currently undefeated Solon Comets. The week after that, yet another big one. Highly ranked team, undefeated, the Hudson Explorers. And that's going to be a Thursday night game as well, October the 23rd at Veterans Memorial Stadium, before wrapping up the regular season right here at home on Halloween night versus the Strongsville Mustangs, who again having a very good start to their season with a 3-1 record. So after these next couple weeks, which the Cardinals do not want to overlook, and they're definitely proving that they're not overlooking anybody, they are going to have a last month of the regular season that's going to, at least on paper right now, going to be a real battle and a grind.
On the stop for the Cardinals, number 27,
D'Angelo Levert, hearing his name quite a bit here in the first half of play, getting in on that special teams tackle. The Brush Sharks coming on the field for their first down situation. 4:22 once again remaining in the first half of play. 42-point advantage for the Mentor Cardinals, pitching a shutout at this point versus the visiting Arcs of Brush out of Lyndhurst, Ohio, coached by Josh Wells. Frustrating start to their season after a couple 7-win campaigns in Coach Wells' first 2 years as the head coach. The Arcs, the runner in motion. Quarterback keeper once again as Jordan Overton, being taken down from behind to make sure he went down.
On the stop for the Cardinals, number 29,
Kenny Cook getting in there on the tackle.
Kenny was number 7, Mark Walton.
Mark Walton, too, getting credit for the tackle in there for the Cardinals on defense as the clock running down inside 4 minutes to play in the first half. Cardinals up 42-0 over the visiting Arcs of Brush on their own side of the field at about the 34-yard line. 2nd down and 4 for Brush. Quarterback Jordan Overton the dual threat, looking to run quite a bit. And that time he's going to hand the ball off. Running straight ahead for a first down for Brush. That's number 6 once again. That's Austin Scott, the junior running back for the Arcs. Listed at 5'9", 175 pounds. Bursting up the middle for that first down for the Brush Arcs. Again, those first downs have been hard to come by for the Arcs this evening. 3.5 minutes remaining in the first half of play. Really being overwhelmed here. 42-point deficit they're facing at this point. Still in the first half of play as well. The mercy rule is going to be in full effect in the second half here with the over 30-point advantage for the Cardinals. This will be the 4th time in 5 games that the Cardinals have implemented the mercy rule on their opposition. 1st and 10 for Brush. Again, that receiver in motion, but Overton's going to scramble out to his left, looking downfield, got a receiver. Nice grab. Right at the first down marker. Good reception for the Arcs.
Pass was complete to number 19.
And that's number 19, Amir Jackson, the junior receiver for the Brush Arcs, making a nice pull down and reception to move the chains for the Brush side. It's going to bring up another 1st and 10 from their own, actually on the Cardinal side of the field this time on the 46-yard line. Brush Arcs looking to move, but the Cardinals looking to keep that shutout intact. Overton, as we have the officials blowing their whistles, calling the play dead again. A lot of penalties in the first half of play here tonight.
Illegal procedure called against Brush.
Brush is going to be at home versus Garfield Heights next week. The remainder of their season, they're going to be away at Valley Forge before coming back home versus Normandy, Cuyahoga Falls, and going on the road versus Parma. So not an easy remainder to the Brush Arcs schedule either this year. Still nothing like the Cardinals are going to be up against, as Cardinals once playing the Shaker Heights next week. After that, they don't want to look ahead, but it's hard not to notice that we have a pair of 3-1 teams and 2 undefeated teams they're going to be facing in the final month of the season. As the Cardinals stuffing them on defense. Jordan Overton on the quarterback keeper, but not keeping it for very much time. Big Trevor Morrison getting credit on that tackle, the defensive lineman, the stellar senior defensive line player for the Cardinals, stuffing them. Pretty impressive beard for a high school senior as well, I may note. 1:40 remaining in the first half of play. The Cardinals with the big advantage, 42-0. 2nd down and 19 is what it's going to be set up as, back on the Arc side of the field at the 44-yard line. And that shotgun set, Jordan Overton getting set for the play. And again, we hear the officials blowing their whistles, but this time it's not a penalty at least. It's going to be another timeout by Coach Josh Wells. Going to talk to his team on the sideline here. 1:20 remaining in the first half of play. 42 points already on the scoring column for the Cardinals. Not quite as good as they had last week when they were up 48-0 at halftime versus the Twinsburg Tigers, but as we all know, 1:20 still a lot of time for the Mentor Cardinals with this high-scoring offense. Led at the helm at quarterback by Jake Floria, also himself a dual threat, able to put it on the ground and rush it in for a long drive, a long play, or even a touchdown. Jake Floria on the season, well, last week I should say, he ended up with 5 rushing attempts for 62 yards, along a 24 and a touchdown on the ground last week. And on the season, Jake Floria, the quarterback of the Cardinals, with 32 rushing attempts for 191 yards coming into this game. 3 touchdowns on the ground on the season coming into competition tonight. 2nd down and 19 for Brush. 1:20 to play in the first half. That familiar shotgun set, 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Rolling out to his right. A lot of pressure by the Cardinals defense, taking him down at the 30. In the grass all much. Yeah, the referees are going to call it a sack.
Taken down by Mentor's number 46, Brady Crandall.
And that's going to be Brady Crandall, the senior linebacker, getting credit for that sack, pushing that ball way back to the 30-yard line on the Brush side of the field. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 34 yards to go to get to that first down marker. A minute 11 remaining in the first half of play. The Cardinals defense with the big play, anticipating that quarterback keeper with Jordan Overton, really putting him on a defense and running back, scrambling back for the big loss for the Cardinals defense. 50 seconds remaining in the first half of play, and that play clock is going to expire as well. So that's going to be another penalty, this time pushing Brush back another 5 yards. So we're going to be looking at a delay of game penalty, 3rd down and 39 for the Brush Arcs with 40 seconds to go in the first half of play. Brush down by 42 points. Now from their own 26-yard line. Jordan Overton seeing if he could pull a rabbit out of his hat on quarterback keeper here. About the 29-yard line, going to go out of bounds. Scrambling for minimal yards. 20 seconds remaining in the first half of play. It's going to be a 4th down and 36 as the game clock winding down inside 10 seconds to play. Cardinals once again this week with a huge advantage, going to take the halftime break. This time they're up 42-0 over the opposition out of Brush High School. The Arcs finding themselves down. Cardinal TV bringing it to you once again. Enjoy the halftime. We'll catch up with you in the second half. We are going to have the running clock in the second half here with the new OHSAA rules, with the mercy rule that not a lot of people are fond of, but it is what it is, and Cardinals have been having to deal with this circumstance 4 out of the first 5 games now, all 3 times at home. The mercy rule is if the opposition is down by over 30 points, the time clock will continue to run in the second half of play, only being stopped by 3 things: change of possession, a timeout, or the end of the quarter. As the Arcs bring it up to about the 20-yard line, pushing it ahead to about the 23 on their own side of the field. That was Tiandre Reynolds on a run back for the Brush Arcs. Number 32, J.D. Matsko, getting in on the tackle on special teams for the Cards. 1st down and 10 for the Brush Arcs. Again, this is homecoming weekend for the Cardinals. Again, congratulations to Caitlin Dubinsky winning the Queen honors this evening right before the game, and her king, Russell Catania. Big crowd again this evening at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium. Looking down the field, nice reception in the middle against the Cardinal defense, bringing the ball up for a 1st down up to about the 40-yard line. Moses Marshall, the 4th, the senior tight end. Big boy, 6'4", 225 for Brush. Nice find by the quarterback, Jordan Overton, over the middle. Starting out the second half of play with the 1st down for Brush. Hard to muster up 1st downs in that first half of play for Brush. Only 4 being accounted for in that first half versus 15 for the Cardinals. Cardinals, out of those 15 1st downs, 6 of those were on the ground, 7 through the air, so quite a good mix of pass and run in that first half of play. Cards gaining 135 yards on the ground in that first half. After losing 8 yards, though, they're netting 127 yards on the ground in the first half of play. Passing yards, 147, as we do have a Brush Arc down on the field being tended to by their training staff right now. Cardinals amassing almost 300 yards of total offense in that first half, 274 yards. The Brush Arcs only with 36. Diallo Johnson Jr., now the senior quarterback on the field for Brush here in the beginning of the second half of play. The first half really being marred by quite a bit of penalties, 5 penalties for the Brush Arcs, accounting for 44 lost yards. The Cardinals with 4 penalties of their own, losing 35 yards. Time of possession actually was in favor of the Brush Arcs in the first half, 14 minutes, 19 seconds. Cardinals only had the ball for 9 minutes, 41 seconds, but again with that quick strike offense accounting for a good chunk of that scoring output, 42 points. As the crowd giving a nice round of applause for the young man going to the sideline. Tyrone Chambers getting up and heading to the sideline. The big 6'5", 315-pound offensive tackle for the Brush Arcs being assisted to the sideline.
Second down and 12 on the 38.
The Brush Arcs going to be facing a second down and long situation from their own 38. Second down and 12 yards to go for the first. Quarterback dropping back, looking downfield again. Got a receiver midfield. Nice play on defense by the Cardinals.
Pass was intended for number 4.
Number 4 was the intended receiver, Moses Marshall, the fourth.
Broken up by mentors number 29, Kenny Cook.
Kenny Cook getting in there on the defensive side of the coin for the Cards, getting his hands on the ball, breaking that play up. Going to bring up a third down and long. 3rd and 12, 10 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. 42 points, 0 to this point for the Brush Arcs. 3rd down and 12. 9:53. Mishandling the ball. And the Cardinals getting in there, look to have the ball. See what the refs signal here. The 20-yard line on the Brush side of the field. Brush may have got the ball back, but regardless, it was a very negative yard situation as they couldn't handle the snap, pushing the ball back to about the 19-yard line on their own side of the field. Going to have a 4th down and 31 count, looking to punt the ball. Eddie Doherty getting set up in midfield, ready to receive that kick. 9:20 as that clock keeps running on down with the mercy rule here in the second half of play as the opposing Brush Arcs down by over 30 points, that 42-point deficit. Cards again getting pressure on that kick, and that ball's going to drop at about the 45 and take a Brush Arc bounce close to the 40-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field, and they down it at the 39-yard line on the Cardinal side. But the Cards will take that. It's still solid field position here as they look to take the ball for the first time in the second half. 8:59 remaining in the third quarter play. The Cards with a 42-point advantage. Some more statistics from that first half of play. Alex Matthews going over the 100-yard rushing mark in that first half of play. 11 rushing attempts for 105 yards, averaging 9.4, a robust total for the big junior running back in that first half. Cardinals switching their players a little bit here in the second half with a big advantage. Number 44 not finding much running room. Actually, that was the quarterback. Tadarunas is the quarterback this time. The freshman QB, standing 6'3" for the Cards, getting some playing time here in the early going in the second half. 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Cardinals going to be facing a 2nd down and 6. Tadarunas from the shotgun looking downfield. They had a receiver in and out of the hands of Jarrell Jackson, the senior wide receiver. Couldn't hang on to the pass. Looked like he was right there in his hands. He just couldn't hold on to it.
3rd down and 6 again from the 43.
8 minutes remaining in the third quarter play. Going to be a 3rd down and 6 situation for the Mentor Cardinals. Some more stats from that first half of play. Jake Floria is going to end tonight 9 of 15 passing for 147 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air. Tadarunas looking downfield, and he's going to throw it over to the competition on the interception for the Brush Arcs, who run it to the Cardinal side of the field, going out of bounds at about the 42-yard line on the Mentor side.
On the stop for the Cardinals was number 89, Robbie J.
Robbie J on the Cardinal stop after that interception run back for the Brush Arcs. 7:37 remaining in his third quarter of play. Brush Arcs with that 42-point deficit. They're facing quite an uphill battle at this point. Going back to some more of those halftime statistics. First half, Eddie Doherty, the leading receiver for 74 yards. No touchdowns, surprising for Eddie. And the Arcs looking downfield, looking to keep that ball in the air. And they throwing some more flags on the field. Looks like that could be a pass interference call against the defense. We'll wait for the word from the officials, but it sure looks like that's what the call is going to be. It's going to put the Brush Arcs in pretty good position on the Cardinal side of the field if that's what it is. Referees gathering together to figure out what they're going to call on the play. Also in the first half of play, Jason Blizzard, 2 catches, 42 yards, a long of 30, a touchdown as well, averaging 21 yards. Was a holding call against the Cardinals defense, allowing Brush to set up at the 31-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. First down and 10, 6:53 remaining in the third, and the handoff, and not much going there for Matthew Draper, the senior running back for the Arcs. Struggling to get back to the line of scrimmage on that run. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 10 situation. Nico Lautinen again having his name called on that tackle, the senior defensive lineman for the Cards. Nico Lautinen verbally committing to go to Bowling Green State University in the MAC next season, Division I college ball. 2nd down and 11, they're going to call it for the Brush Arcs. Getting set up in that shotgun. 1 receiver to the right, 3 on his left. Looking downfield, overshooting number 4, Moses Marshall, the 4th. The senior tight end not able to grab that pass, which is a little bit high. 3rd down and long situation for the Arcs of Brush. 3rd and 11, 5:55 in the third quarter. Cards with the big advantage here, 42-point lead. First half of play, also Malik Porter getting in the scoring column with that touchdown for the Cardinals. 2 catches in that first half, accounting for 21 yards, averaging 10.5 a catch. As the Arcs again looking to pass, but being brought down, sacked close to the 45-yard line. Diallo Johnson Jr. not finding much running room, getting pushed back and taken down. Nico Lautinen again hearing his name called quite often. The senior standout on defense for the Cardinals, going to force Brush into a 4th down and 21 situation. Their special teams unit again coming on the field. Number 40, Eddie Doherty, about the 15-yard line, getting set to return this kick. Inside 5 minutes to go in the third quarter play. Cardinals 42-0 against the visiting Brush Arcs. Wobbly kick by the Arcs. No chance for a run back as that ball goes out of bounds around the 35-yard line on the Cardinal side of the field. 1st and 10 for the Cards. Again, the starting quarterback for the Cardinals, again getting a bit of a rest in the second half of play this week as he did last week versus Twinsburg, doing the same thing this week versus Brush. Passing the baton over for the quarterback duties at this point to Tadarunas, the freshman QB for the Cards, standing 6'3", weighing 180.
1st and 10 Cardinals on the 35.
Actually, on the last possession, that was Tadarunas at the quarterback position, but this time we have number 6, Manning Trubisky, in at the QB slot. The sophomore finds Malik Porter with a nice grab in traffic, finding a lane and moving the chain straight ahead. 1st down for the Cards to the 45-yard line. Nice catch. 4:18 remaining in the third quarter play as that clock keeps winding itself on down with the mercy rule in full effect. But the Cards showing no mercy as they keep moving ahead here onto the Brush side of the field. It's going to be Frank Toth, the junior running back, getting some repetitions here for the Cardinals on that run. 2nd down and 4 for the Cards. Inside 4 minutes to play now in the third quarter of play. Cardinals with a big 42-point advantage. Pitching a shutout again this week. Trubisky, 2 receivers to his left, 2 to his right, and he's going to hand the ball off for minimal yardage this time. Straight up ahead. Looks like that was Isaiah Gullick that time on the run. Isaiah had a touchdown last week in the second half of the game versus the Twinsburg Tigers. The no-huddle offense. Manning Trubisky, the sophomore signal caller for the Cardinals, getting to play. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Going to be a 3rd down and 3 for the Cards. Trubisky looking downfield, got a receiver open. That's number 3, Jarrell Jackson. Some running room to the 35, to the 30, to the 25-yard line before being taken down. finding the lane, moving the chains. 1st and 10. We're going to do it again for the Cards. 3 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. Number 3 on that reception, Jarrell Jackson, the senior wide receiver from Manning Trubisky at the quarterback position. Again, with 2 receivers on his left, 2 to his right, flanked with the running back to his left side. That's Isaiah Gullick, but he fakes it to Isaiah, takes it himself up to close to the 20-yard line, about the 21. Trubisky on a quarterback keeper for a few positive yards. It's going to be a 2nd down and 7 situation for the Cardinals here inside 2.5 minutes to play in the third quarter of play. Cards with the big advantage, 42-point lead over the visiting Brush Arcs. Again, it's going to go to number 28, Isaiah Gullick, finding some running room to the 10-yard line. Standing up and finding some room as that hole opened up, and Isaiah hit that hard, bringing that ball to the 10-yard line. Showing some moves, showing what he could do in the second half of play these past few weeks at home with the Cardinals with the big lead. Good to see a glimpse of the future here with that sophomore running back.
2 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Minute 58 remaining in the third quarter play. No points on the board here in the second half after the Cards dropped 42 on the Arcs in the first half of play. The reception and the score! How about 6 more for Jarrell Jackson, number 3, the senior receiver for the Cards. Bringing in that catch and bringing it into the end zone for the score for the Cardinals, bringing the score to 48-0 over the visiting Arcs of Brush. Cards coming out for the extra point attempt. That's going to be a different kicker this time, or is it? Looks like number 22, Tyler Thompson, going out there again. Coach Trevisano the last few weeks switched his kicker in the second half of the play, but not this time, as Tyler Thompson's going to shank that off the left side of the goalpost, missing that extra point attempt, so it's going to be 48 points now on the board for the Mentor Cardinals. Brush Arcs, nothing to this point. Pitching a shutout, the Cardinals defense. Again, the defense, you don't always think of them when you think of the Mentor Cardinals and this well-accomplished football squad that they have here, who's really been a powerhouse in the northeastern Ohio area over the past 10 years or so. A lot of people, first that comes to mind is the high-scoring offense, the no-huddle, the spread, the ability to score at any juncture of the field, any time, a game. But the defense really is holding their own in the early going this season in game number 5. I'm sure the defense would love to have another shutout, as they did a couple weeks ago when they ended up taking it to the Euclid Panthers with a 49-0 win on September the 12th. Came real close to a shutout last week as well against the Twinsburg Tigers, but Twinsburg were able to muster up a touchdown score in the second half of play last week as the Cardinals topped the Tigers 54-7 last Friday. Glad to have everybody back here again, though. Cardinal TV. Hope you're enjoying the game. I know the crowd here in the stadium is, and we hope everybody at home listening on ESPNCleveland.com right now as the game is going on, or after the fact on Time Warner Cable, channel 96.96 in Mentor, or on our YouTube channel, Cardinal TV, Mentor, Ohio, on YouTube. 1:40 remaining in the third quarter play. The mercy rule, that's the new rule this season in the state of Ohio. If a team's up by over 30 points, second half of play, it's a running game clock unless change of possession, a timeout, or a turnover. Brush coming out for a 1st and 10 situation. 1:30 to go in the third quarter of play. Again, the Brush Arcs with a different QB here in the second half due to the score. Diallo Johnson, the quarterback, looking in the center of the field, and he found his receiver for a nice catch.
Pass is complete to number 4.
That's number 4. That's Moses Marcia the 4th. We're calling his name quite a bit here in the second half of play. The big tight end, senior for the Brush Arcs, 6'4", 225, finding some holes in the middle of that Cardinal defense. But it's probably a little too late at this point, with 1:05 remaining in the third quarter of play, and the Arcs facing a 48-point deficit to the Cardinals. from the shotgun set. Diallo Johnson, though, the senior QB signal caller, getting set. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left, looking downfield, finding his man in the middle of the Cardinals defense once again. Nice grab. Number 4 again, that's Moses Marshall the fourth. The tight end for the Arcs, moving the ball up the field. Coming up on a half a minute to play in the third quarter, though. It's going to be just shy of a first down. Going to be second down and a short 2. Ball position on their own 40-yard line. The Brush Arcs on this nice Friday night here at Jerome T. Osborne Stadium in Mentor, Ohio. Seasonable temperatures. Cardinals running, or the Cardinals getting beat on defense as the Brush Arcs moving straight ahead. Paige L. Lee on the first down, getting the first down on that carry for the Brush Arcs as the clock winds down, bringing an end to the third quarter of play. 48 points for the home team, the Mentor Cardinals, finding 0 points at this juncture for the visiting squad out of Lyndhurst, Ohio. Charles Brush High School, the Arcs. And the band plays on as we wait for the beginning of the fourth quarter. Cardinals ranked in the Ohio Associated Press second in the state, actually getting 2 first-place votes by the voters. Ranked number 2, but number 1, Cincinnati Moeller, that vaunted team that took them out in the championship game last year on that cold winter day in Canton Fawcett Stadium, that high-scoring affair where the Cardinals found themselves on the downside of that championship game. The Cards would love to find themselves in a situation again to make it to that championship game this year, but obviously to come on the right side of the coin this time. And the way they're beginning this season, you'd have to think they're being primed and ready for a playoff run this year. 1st and 10 for the Brush Arcs, looking downfield. That's number 18, Diallo Johnson. Oh, he got hit hard at the 45-yard line. Number 18, Diallo Johnson, meeting a brick wall on the defense by the Cardinals. It's Adam Williams, the big senior linebacker for the Cards, stuffing them and bringing them down hard. Second down and 9 for the Brush Arcs. 11:27 and counting here in the fourth quarter. Brush Arcs breaking that huddle. Senior quarterback Diallo Johnson getting set in the shotgun. 3 receivers to his left, 1 to his right, flanked with the running back. That spread offense looking to pass it, possibly run, but finding a receiver, number 7, Philip Duncan, in the middle of the field with a nice catch for some positive yards as he gets close to midfield. 10:50 remaining in the game. The Cards up 48 points, 48-0 over the visiting Arcs of Brush. Going to bring up a 3rd down and 4 for Brush. As we wind up with the third quarter statistics, hot off the press for the game. Rushing yards for the Cards, 161 yards. Lost 8 yards, so a net of 153 yards on the ground for the Cards. And believe it or not, minus 5 yards net for Brush through the first 3 quarters is got some positive yards on that run as they get the first down for the Brush Arcs. That's number 18, the QB, Diallo Johnson, the senior for Brush. Again, some of the stats through the third quarter of play, big advantage through the air for the Cardinals as well. 190 yards passing for Mentor and only 48 for Brush. 343 total yards for the Cards through the first 3 quarters of play, only 43 total yards. So the Cards outgaining Brush by 300 total yards through 3 quarters of play here tonight. Game number 5 of the season for the Cardinals as the Arcs get set up and gets stuffed. Just back up to the line of scrimmage on that run as we approach 9:45 remaining in the game. The Cards 48-point advantage, 48-0 over the visiting Arcs of Brush. Time of possession actually is in favor through 3 quarters of play of the visiting team that finds themselves down big here tonight. Brush had 21 minutes and 54 seconds of possession time through 3 quarters of play, and the Cards only with just over 14 minutes. Again, credit to that quick score offense that they have.
Scott on the carry for Brush. Taken down by Mentors number 36, Caleb Rubichenski.
Caleb Rivicheski,
There's a flag on the play.
the sophomore defensive lineman, getting credit for the tackle on that play. Flag on the play, though. Maybe a personal foul. 9:13 remaining in the game. It looks like that's going to be going against Charles Brush High School as they're taking a step back close to midfield on that penalty. Heard it may have been a personal foul, but we'll wait to see what the referees call. Cardinals again with that big lead in the second half of play, giving them the advantage of being able to rest some of their starters. Starting quarterback Jake Floria being able to sit the entire second half of play as the officials march that ball back close to the 50-yard line. Call it the 48-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 14 for Brush. 9 minutes to go in the game. Facing that 48-point deficit to Mentor. Quarterback Diallo Johnson in that shotgun set. One receiver, now two. Just second one went in motion. Two receivers on the right, one on the left. Looking deep downfield. Way past his receivers. That ball falls at about the 13-yard line on the Cardinals side of the field. He was looking for Amir Jackson, but overshot his receiver, did Diallo Johnson. Good coverage on defense by the Cardinals. 3rd and 14 is the count on this down for the Brush Sharks. Again, the Cards being able to mix in some different personnel in the second half of play. Had two different quarterbacks they used in the third quarter, with first coming in Tadarunas, who attempted 2 passes, incomplete on both attempts, and actually thrown an interception. And Manning Trubisky, the second quarterback in that third quarter, who came in a perfect 3 for 3, is Diallo Johnson looking downfield. Tipped away by the Cardinal defender. Nice play on defense by the Cards. I think those number 30 got his hands in there, Adam Williams, for the Cards. 7:50 remaining in the game. Going to bring up a 4th down and long situation for Brush. 4th and 14. Decision time for Coach Wells of Brush. Down by 48. You'd have to think they're going to go for it, though. The ball being positioned at the Cardinal 48-yard line. 4th and 14 for Brush. 7:30 remaining in the game as that clock continues to wind down. Thanks to the mercy rule. Diallo Johnson from that shotgun set. 2 receivers to his right, 2 to his left. Looking downfield, but nowhere to go. Running for his life, still looking downfield. Finding a receiver, but getting his hands in there. Number 42 for the Cardinals, Brandon Alex, making a nice play to senior DB. Getting his hands in there to break up that pass attempt by Diallo Johnson, who scrambled and found a receiver, but dangerous passes. The defense for the Cards made a nice play, keeping the hopes of another shutout intact. 48-0, the Mentor Cardinals with the big lead. Well on their way to extending this unbeaten season to pushing their record up to 5-0 to begin the year for the Cardinals in 2014. Tatus Tadarunas again at the quarterback slot. Isaiah Gullick, nice run as he looked to go down at first, but busting through for some positive yards. Flag is on the play. Some fresh legs in there for the Cardinals, though. 6:54 remaining in the game. Looks like that penalty is going to go against Mentor. It's going to be a holding call, so it's going to back up the offense. 48-0 here at home once again for the Cards on this long homestand. 4 games in a row. This is the 3rd of 4 games. Next week on Thursday, the Cardinals will be home against the Shaker Heights Red Raiders, also struggling in the early going of the season, just like Brush is. Number 17 on a reception for the Cards, it's Calvin Catania. The sophomore receiver for the Cards on the grab. 6.5 minutes to go in the game. No huddle offense. Cardinals getting lined up. 2 receivers to the left. 1 receiver to the right. Tadas Tadarunas flanked with the running back to his right and to his left. Giving it to the running back on his left. That's number 37, Frank Toth, pushing straight ahead. Getting close to midfield on that run for the Cards. Coming up on 6 minutes remaining in the game. The Cards 48 points. The Brush Sharks 0 points. 3rd down and 8 for the Cards.
3rd down and 8 for the Cardinals on the 50.
Cards making a substitution. No huddle offense, looking to the sideline for the play call. Cardinals again at home next week versus Shaker Heights, but after that is when it gets really to the nitty-gritty with their schedule. It's number 12 for the Cards. That's Tadarunas going straight ahead for minimal yardage for the Cards. Going to bring up a 4th down and 8 situation for Menor. And as the Cardinals do, it doesn't really matter how many yards it is to go for the 1st down. They generally will go for it in this situation as they're doing here. Again, number 12, that's Tadarunas, the quarterback, the freshman for the Cards, getting some reps here in the second half of play. From the shotgun set, 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Looking downfield, dangerous pass. Tadarunas already threw 1 interception in the game, nearly threw another one. He was looking for number 89, Robbie J., the junior receiver for the Cards. Incompletion, though, is going to be a turnover on downs, giving it back over to the Brush Sharks. Just inside 5 minutes to play in the game. Menor, 48 points, 0 points for the Brush Sharks. Menor Cardinals, so looking at the back end of this schedule in the regular season. Going to be some stiff competition against Brunswick coming into tonight's competition with a 3-1 record. Solon Comets undefeated at 4-0. Then right after that, Hudson Explorers currently 4-0. Then the final game of the season against Strongsville, who's got a 3-1 record on Halloween night here to end the regular season. But should be an exciting end to the regular season as we face that tough stretch. Going to be a timeout on the field with 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Through the 3rd quarter, though, again, first half, big rushing yards for the Cards. Alex Matthews going over 100 yards on the game, 11 attempts rushing for 105 yards, rushing 3 times into the end zone for scores, averaging a whopping 9.4 yards on every carry. That long run being 57 yards when he sprinted straight up the middle of the field into the end zone. 1st and 10 for the Brush Sharks as they get set up in the second half. Cardinals 2nd down and 3. Giving the ball to Isaiah Gullick, number 28, pulling ahead. Finding a lane, moving the chains, getting the first down for the Cards. 3 minutes to go in the game here. Cards with the big 48-point advantage.
And that's an Old Carolina barbecue. First down. Ball is on the 30.
From the Cardinal 30-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Cards. Going to give the ball, number 28, I believe, on that one. Isaiah Gullick stretching it to the outside. Finding a couple yards on that first down play. 2.5 minutes remaining in the game. Again, getting a glimpse of the future with some of the underclassmen coming in here at the end of the game in the second half with a big lead for the Cardinals. Fresh legs in there for number 28, Isaiah Gullick and Frank Toth. As the Cardinals looking, Mezget finding a receiver there for a couple yards.
Pass was complete to number 17,
Calvin Catania on the reception for the Cards, a sophomore receiver on the grab for a couple yards there. 3rd down and 6 is what's coming up now with 2 minutes remaining in the game. Cardinals up 48-0 over the visiting Arcs at Brush. Having trouble with that snap. Cards look like they've fallen back down on it, but dangerous play there. Nearly turned the ball over to Brush on that snap. Isaiah Gullick falling on the ball, keeping it the Cardinals' possession with the minute coming up on a minute 30 remaining in the game. 4th down and 10 yards to go here. As the Cardinals' offense going to remain on the field with a big lead, 48-0, as the Cards going to be improving to 5-0 on the season. Mezget going to be the quarterback keeper, keeping it up the middle, some positive yards, getting close to the 40-yard line, getting close to the first down before being taken down on that 4th down play, and the quarterback keeper. Minute 15 remaining in the game. Going to be a turnover on downs to the Brush Arcs as Mezget on that quarterback run coming up just shy of that first down marker.
Brush will now take over on downs. 1st and 10, Brush.
48 points in the game. A minute 15 remaining. 0 points for the Brush Arcs. Going to have a look at it here with a couple plays potentially before the game winds down, and the Cards hoping to keep the shutout intact. Still a good crowd on hand for the Cardinals again this night, cheering the home team on. Seasonable temperatures bringing the crowd out in full force, as is the undefeated team. As the Arcs looking deep, he's got a receiver downfield, but broken up nicely by number 26 of the Cardinals, Billy Strozier. But there is a flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play.
As Nathan Shorts, the intended receiver on that play. Thomas Loya looking downfield. He had a receiver open close to the goal line on the incompletion, but that's going to be a penalty on the defense, it appears. But again, with that mercy rule, that clock was continuing to wind down. 46 seconds showing on the game clock. The Cards up 48-0. Brush is going to go to 1-4 on the season. The Cardinals going to improve to 5-0, continuing this perfect run at the beginning of 2014. Sure looking like a postseason squad that Coach Trevisano's got themselves a hold of again this year. It's a quarterback rolling, nearly finding his receiver just in front of the end zone. Unable to pull that catch in for the Brush Arcs. Thomas Loy looking downfield. Nice throw, but Nathan Shorts couldn't pull that catch in. As the clock winding down to 10 seconds remaining in the game, the Brush may have a shot at getting one more play. 5 seconds remaining in the game. Cards up 45-0. 2-1. And the game's coming to an end. And the game finds the Cardinals once again on the winning side of the game, pushing their record in 2014 to 5 wins on the season. Perfect and undefeated, no losses. 3-0 at home, 2-0 on the road.